The night sky above the alien planet was strange. Stars looked brighter here, almost too close, as if they were watching. The human traveler walked carefully across the rocky ground. His name was never important. What mattered was his courage. Though he did not know it yet, the land was quiet, but not the safe kind of quiet. It was the kind of silence that made his heart beat faster, like the air itself was hiding a secret. His boots pressed against the ground, leaving marks in the thin dust. Every step echoed as if the planet wanted to remember him. He stopped suddenly. There was a sound. At first it was faint, carried by the wind. A sharp cry. Then another. His ears caught it again. High-pitched, frightened. Almost like the voice of children. The man turned his head, searching. His eyes narrowed. Out here, no human should be alive, yet the cries were real. He moved forward, heart racing, curiosity mixed with fear. The sound grew louder as he entered a canyon, its walls rising high on both sides. The air was heavy, filled with the smell of wet stone and something sour, like acid rain had fallen earlier. Then he saw them. 3 small figures huddled near a broken rock. Their bodies were strange, not human at all. Their skin glowed faintly in the dark, like soft blue light under the surface. Large black eyes blinked, at him wide with fear. Their hands, thin and clawed, clutched one another tightly. They were children, alien children. The human froze. His first thought was to step back. They were not his kind. He had no reason to interfere. But then he noticed the danger. The canyon wall above them shook. Loose rocks trembled, ready to fall. A landslide was coming. The children screamed again. In that instant, the human acted without thinking. His legs moved fast, carrying him to them. He reached out, pushing 2 of the children aside as the first wave of stones crashed down. Dust filled the air, stinging his throat. He grabbed the 3rd child in his arms and rolled across the ground, shielding it with his body. The earth shook hard. Sharp rocks hit his back, cutting through his jacket. Pain flared, but he held the child close. He gritted his teeth. He would not let go. When the sound finally stopped, the canyon floor was covered with broken stone. The air was thick with dust. Slowly, he lifted his head. The children were alive. Their eyes stared at him, still frightened, but also confused. Why had he saved them? The man coughed, standing up on weak legs. His back ached. He looked up at the cliff. More rocks were loose. It was not over yet. He waved at the children, pointing away. "Run," he said, though he knew they did not understand his words. But his voice carried something deeper than language. They hesitated, then obeyed, their small legs moving quickly across the canyon floor. He followed, staying behind them, ready to protect them again. Each step was heavy. Each sound of falling stone made his chest tighten, but he refused to stop. Then from deeper in the canyon, another noise came. Not the sound of rocks this time. A growl. Low, rumbling, powerful. The children froze, trembling. The human's eyes narrowed again, searching the shadows. There, 2 glowing shapes moved between the rocks. Creatures tall and thin with too many legs and jaws that clicked like knives. Their eyes burned with red light. Hunters. The human realized quickly. These children had not only been trapped by the landslide, they were being hunted. He pulled a metal rod from his belt. It was not much, just a tool for climbing. But in his hands, it became a weapon. The creatures hissed, moving. Closer, their steps fast on the stone. The children cried out. The man stood his ground. His heart pounded, but his fear was drowned by something stronger. Determination. He stepped in front of the alien children, raising the rod. The first creature lunged. He swung hard, striking its head. Sparks flew as its skull cracked against the stone. The second one circled, clicking its jaws. The man shifted, keeping himself between it and the children. His body burned with pain from the landslide, but he refused to back away. For a moment, time felt frozen. The human, injured and outnumbered, facing alien predators with nothing but his will. The children, helpless behind him, eyes wide with desperate hope. Then suddenly the creatures stopped. Their heads turned toward the cliff above as if something larger was approaching. They hissed one last time before retreating into the shadows. The human stood still, breathing heavily. His grip on the rod loosened. He had survived. The children were safe. But then, the ground trembled again. A massive shadow fell across the canyon. The man turned his head slowly, his chest tight with dread. The children looked up, their faces changing from fear to recognition. High above, a huge figure appeared. Its eyes glowed brighter than the stars, its body stretched taller than any human had ever seen. It was no predator. It was something else entirely. The alien children cried out, not in fear this time, but in a strange, joyful sound. The human realized the truth. This was their mother. The shadow of the giant mother filled the canyon like a storm. Her body was massive, her arms long and strong, her eyes glowing like deep oceans. She moved with slow, heavy steps that shook the ground beneath the man's feet. The human stood frozen. His heart thumped hard, every beat echoing in his ears. His hand tightened on the metal rod. But what could a rod do against something this size? The alien mother looked powerful enough to crush him with one hand. The children, however, ran to her. Their glowing bodies lit up as they called out in strange voices. Their mother bent low, lifting them gently into her arms. She touched their faces, checked their small wounds, and held them close. The human let out a shaky breath. He felt relief. At least they were safe. But the question burned in his mind. What about me? The alien mother turned her gaze toward him. Her glowing eyes locked on his body, his injuries, the weapon in his hand. For a moment silence fell. The air grew heavy, as if time itself had stopped. Was she angry? Did she think he had hurt her children? The man's throat went dry. His legs begged him to run, but he forced himself to stay. If he fled, she might chase him. If he attacked, she would destroy him. All he could do was stand still, showing he meant no harm. Finally, the mother's eyes softened. A deep, strange sound came from her throat, half growl, half hum. It was not a threat. It was something else. A thank you, perhaps. The man lowered his rod, dropping it to the ground. He lifted, his hands slowly, palms open, showing he had no weapon, no anger. The children peered at him from her arms. Their big eyes blinked, almost curious. They knew. He had saved them. Still, the human's heart carried doubt. He wondered if this was the end of his journey. Maybe his story would finish here, on this lonely alien planet crushed by a mother protecting her young, but she did not attack. Instead, she turned away. She carried the children into the shadows of the canyon, leaving the man alone with the dust and broken stones. He stood there, breathing heavily. His muscles trembled. Pain throbbed through his back from the landslide. His clothes were torn, blood soaking into the fabric, yet his mind was not on his wounds. It was on the choice he had made. He had risked his life for children who were not his own, not even human. He could have walked away. No one would have blamed him. But something deep inside, something human, had told him to act. Courage, compassion, the simple refusal to watch the weak suffer. He leaned against the canyon wall, sliding down until he sat on the ground. His breath came in rough waves. He tried to laugh, but it came out as a cough. Crazy, he whispered to himself. I must be crazy. The stars above shifted as night deepened. Strange sounds echoed through the canyon. Distant calls of alien beasts, the hiss of wind through sharp rocks. The man felt very small in that moment. Small, but alive. He closed his eyes, but sleep did not come easily. His mind replayed the screams of the children, the crash of falling stone, the glow of the mother's eyes. Every detail carved itself into his memory. When dawn came, the sky turned pale gold. Light touched the canyon floor and the dust glittered like silver powder. The man forced himself to stand. His body ached, but he kept moving. He thought the story was over. He thought the children were safe now, far away in their mother's arms. He thought his path would return to loneliness. But he was wrong. As he climbed out of the canyon, he felt the ground tremble again. He looked back. The alien mother stood at the canyon's edge, watching him. The children clung to her, pointing at him with their small, glowing hands. She did not chase him. She did not speak. But she did not leave either. She watched, studied, waited. The man felt a strange chill run through him. Why was she still here? What did she want? His human instincts screamed danger. His heart whispered something else. Gratitude, perhaps. Or a test. He turned away, continuing his walk. But the image of her eyes burned in his thoughts. He knew this was not finished. His choice to save those children had tied his life to theirs. Something was coming. Something larger than he could imagine. And deep down, he feared it was already too late to turn back. The human had thought the danger was finished. The children were alive. The mother had come. His part, surely, was over. Yet deep in his chest, unease stirred like a storm waiting to break. The canyon air was heavy with silence. The giant mother stood at the edge, her glowing eyes locked on him. She held her children close, but she did not leave. Her gaze was steady, deep, almost searching. The man shifted uneasily, his boots crunching on loose stone. He wanted to step back, but something about those eyes froze him. They were not just the eyes of a creature. They were the eyes of a mind, ancient, intelligent, watching. The children wriggled in her arms, their tiny hands reaching toward him. Their voices made strange, high-pitched sounds, soft but filled with excitement. They pointed at him again and again as if telling their mother something important. The man's throat went dry. He swallowed hard. "I saved them," he whispered, though he knew she could not understand his words. Still, his voice echoed in the canyon, and for a strange moment, it felt as though she had heard more than the sound. She bent low, her massive head dipping closer. Dust swirled around as her breath filled the air, thick and warm. The human stiffened, his instincts screaming to run, but his feet refused to move. Her children clung tighter to her arms, but their wide eyes never left him. Their faces were not afraid. They were hopeful. The mother tilted her head, studying him. Her eyes glowed brighter, flashing patterns of light. It was not random. It was language, some kind of code, one he could not understand, but he felt the meaning anyway. Questions, searching, testing. He raised his hands slowly, palms open. His body trembled, but he held his ground. "I mean no harm," he said softly. "I only wanted them safe." Her glowing eyes blinked once, then twice, like fire fading and returning. A low sound rumbled from her chest, deep enough to shake the rocks. The ground vibrated beneath his boots. The man held his breath. Was this a warning? A threat? Or something else? Then, without warning, she reached out one massive arm. Her claws were long, sharp, strong enough to tear stone apart. They stopped inches from his body. The man froze, his heart hammering. One wrong move, and it would be over. But the claws did not strike. Instead, they moved with slow, careful grace. They touched the ground beside him, not him, as if to test the space he stood in. Dust rose around his boots. She leaned closer. Her eyes glowed again, reflecting his face, his fear, his determination. And then, something changed. The mother lowered her head until her forehead almost touched his. A strange hum filled the air, vibrating inside his chest, inside his bones. His vision blurred for a moment. He felt a rush of warmth in his mind, like a door opening. Images flashed, too fast to understand. Stars, fire, oceans, battlefields. A storm of memory, but not his own. It was hers. The connection broke as quickly as it came. The man staggered back, gasping for air. His head spun, his body shaking. The mother pulled away, her children pressed tightly against her chest. Her eyes dimmed slightly, but her gaze remained fixed on him. She had seen him. She had chosen to see him. The human's breath came fast. His body wanted to collapse, but his spirit refused. Something inside him whispered, "This is no accident." This meeting was meant to happen. The mother straightened to her full height. Her shadow covered the canyon wall, towering above him like a living mountain. She let out another deep rumble, and the sound echoed across the sky. Far away, other rumbles answered. The man's blood ran cold. She was not alone. He looked up as the sky shifted. More glowing shapes moved in the distance, huge figures descending from the cliffs. Their eyes gleamed in the dark, each one powerful, each one ancient. The children chirped loudly, their voices filled with joy. They were calling to the others. The man's hands shook, his heart pounded with dread. He had thought saving 3 children was a small act of courage, but now, standing in the shadow of giants, he realized the truth. His choice had drawn the attention of something far greater, something vast, something that could change the fate of not just himself, but maybe his entire species. The mother gave one last look at him. Her eyes flashed again, soft but firm, as if giving a warning, or a promise. Then she turned, carrying her children deeper into the canyon. The other giants followed, their heavy steps shaking the ground. The human stood, alone, dust swirling around his body. His rod lay forgotten on the ground. He had survived the night, but he knew this was not the end. It was only the beginning. The night after the canyon encounter felt endless. The human lay under a broken ridge of stone, his back pressed to the cold ground. His body ached from wounds he had not yet cleaned. His mind, however, was louder than the pain. He kept seeing her eyes, the alien mother's eyes, burning into his soul, and the strange vision she had pushed into his mind. Stars, fire, oceans, endless images he could not explain. Sleep came in broken fragments. Every time he drifted, he awoke with a start, certain the ground was shaking again. But the night passed without attack. Only the whispers of wind and the glow of distant stars kept him company. When dawn touched the horizon, painting the sky in faint orange, he forced himself to rise. He thought perhaps it was over. The children were safe. The giants had left. He could go back to his lonely path, but as he climbed the ridge, his breath caught in his chest. She was there. The alien mother stood at the canyon's edge once more. Her massive body glowed faintly in the morning light. The children clung to her arms, their small voices chirping softly. The human froze. His instincts screamed to hide, but his feet betrayed him. They carried him forward, step by cautious step. The mother's eyes watched him, not with anger, not with fear, with something else. Slowly she bent low, lowering her children to the ground. They rushed toward him, glowing hands reaching out. Their faces brightened when they saw him. Their strange voices rose in joy. The human knelt, unsure if he should touch them, but they pressed against him anyway, their small bodies warm with light. For a moment, he forgot his fear. He felt human, a protector. Then, the mother moved. She reached behind her, pulling something from the folds of her body. It was not food, not a tool. It was an object unlike anything the man had ever seen. A sphere, glowing faintly, its surface smooth yet alive. It pulsed with energy, each beat like the rhythm of a heart. Colors shifted across its surface, blue, silver, gold, fading and returning. She held it out toward him. The man's breath caught. His mind screamed, "Do not touch it." But his body leaned forward anyway, his hands trembling. The children chirped louder, their tiny arms pointing at the sphere. Their faces were filled with excitement, as if urging him to take it. The human looked into the mother's eyes. There was no threat there, only expectation. He reached out slowly, fingers brushing the surface of the sphere. Heat coursed through his skin, spreading through his veins. His chest tightened, his vision blurred. but he could not let go. The moment his full hand gripped it, the world shifted. Light exploded in his mind. His knees buckled, and he fell to the ground. The sphere pulsed against his chest, sinking into his body, not as an object, but as something alive. Vision struck again, sharper than before. Stars collapsing, ships burning, voices screaming across galaxies. Then peace. Oceans, forests, children laughing. Two paths, two futures, both balanced on a knife's edge. The human gasped, sweat pouring down his face. He clawed at the ground, trying to hold himself steady. The alien mother stood tall above him, her gaze steady, her eyes glowing brighter. She had given him something powerful, not just a gift, a burden. The children cheered, unaware of the weight that now pressed into his soul. When the light faded, the sphere was gone. It was no longer in his hands. It was inside him. He staggered to his feet, his chest heaving. He felt stronger, sharper, as though the air itself carried more life. But beneath the strength was fear. He did not understand what had been done to him. The mother gave a final deep rumble, a sound that shook the ground but carried no threat. Her eyes locked with his one last time, as if to say, "You have it now. Use it well." Then she turned, gathering her children. Together they disappeared into the canyon's shadows, leaving him alone once again. The man stood in silence, the weight of the alien reward burning inside him. His hands shook. His heart raced. He wanted to throw it away, but he could not. It was no longer an object. It was part of him. He looked up at the sky. It felt different now, heavier, as if countless unseen eyes were watching. He realized with growing dread that this was no simple thank you. It was a test, a mark, a beginning. And somewhere deep inside he knew the gift would change everything. Not just for him, not just for these alien children, but for all of humanity. The man stood alone in the canyon after the alien mother vanished with her children. The silence was heavy, pressing against his ears. His chest still burned where the strange sphere had fused into him. Every heartbeat carried a new rhythm, faster, louder, like an echo that did not belong to him. He touched his chest, expecting to feel the object under his skin, but there was nothing, only warmth spreading through his veins. His hands trembled. His breathing was uneven. He was no longer just human. The morning sun climbed higher, but the world around him felt different. Every sound was sharper, the hiss of wind, the crunch of dust beneath his boots, even the slow drip of water from the canyon walls. Colors burned brighter. The sky above shimmered as though hidden patterns lay behind it. He staggered to a rock and sat down, trying to calm himself. But calm would not come, because the visions were still there. Whenever he closed his eyes, images returned. Armies marching under alien skies, great ships locked in war, children crying in smoke-filled cities. Then, flashes of peace. Families, gathered under starlight, fields of green, laughter echoing across oceans. Two futures, both clear, both possible, and in each vision, one thing was constant: him. The human pressed his palms to his face. "Why me?" he whispered, his voice raw. He was no soldier, no leader, just a traveler, a wanderer across empty worlds. Yet now he carried something he did not understand, something that could tip the balance between war and peace. The thought clawed at his mind. Was this really a reward? Or was it a trap? He rose unsteadily, forcing himself to walk. His body felt different, stronger, faster, yet also heavier, as if every step carried invisible chains. The ground seemed to hum beneath him, faint but constant, like the planet itself, recognized what he now carried. Hours passed as he moved across the barren land. His wounds from the landslide should have slowed him, but they did not. The cuts burned, then closed. The bruises faded. His body healed in ways it never had before. He stopped, staring at his hands. They glowed faintly under the sunlight just for a moment before fading back to normal. Fear twisted his stomach. If others saw this, they would not call him human anymore. By evening, he reached a ridge that overlooked the endless desert. Shadows stretched across the land, long and dark. He felt the pull of the sphere inside him, tugging at his mind, urging him toward something unseen. Then the silence broke. A voice, not with sound, but inside his head. Deep, layered, like many voices speaking as one. "You are marked." The man staggered, clutching his temples. "Who's there?" he shouted, but his voice only bounced off the empty cliffs. The voice came again. "The choice has begun. Protect or destroy, lead or fall. The gift will guide you, but the gift will judge you too." His heart pounded. Sweat dripped down his face. He fell to his knees, shaking. The visions returned sharper than ever. He saw alien fleets moving through space. He saw human cities staring up at skies filled with fire. He saw himself standing between both sides, holding the glowing sphere, with countless lives watching. Then the vision shattered. He gasped for air, falling forward onto the dirt. His hands clawed at the ground. He wanted to tear the gift out, to return it, to be free of it. But it was too late. It had become part of him. Night arrived. Stars filled the sky, burning bright. He looked at them, but they no longer felt distant. They felt closer, alive, as if they too were waiting for his next step. His mind raced with questions. Would the aliens come back? Would humanity understand? Or would they fear him, hunt him, tear him apart before he could even explain? The weight of destiny pressed down hard. His courage had saved children, but it had also chained him to something far greater. He rose slowly, his shadow long under the starlight. His eyes glowed faintly now, a reflection of the sphere's power inside him. He clenched his fists, steadying himself. He knew this was not the end of the story. It was only the beginning. The alien mother had not given him a reward. She had given him a path, one that could unite worlds or burn them all. And somewhere in the darkness of space, unseen eyes had already turned toward him. The next move was his. The human walked for hours under the alien sky, each step heavier than the last. The desert stretched endless before him, silver dunes glowing under the light of 2 moons. His chest still burned with the pulse of the strange sphere inside him, a rhythm that was not his own. He tried to calm his thoughts, but the voices lingered. Protect or destroy. Lead or fall. Their echo gnawed at his mind like a whisper he could not silence. At first he thought he was alone, but as the night deepened he felt it. Eyes. Not the eyes of beasts, not the glow of predators. Something else. Hidden. Watching. He turned sharply, scanning the dunes. Nothing. Only sand shifting in the cold wind. Yet the feeling grew stronger. With every step, he stopped walking. "I know you're there," he muttered. The silence answered. Then from the shadows of a ridge, figures emerged, tall, thin, cloaked in dark fabric that shimmered faintly under the moons. Their faces were hidden behind masks of smooth metal, glowing lines etched across them. They carried staffs that hummed, with quiet energy. The human's chest tightened. They were not the giant mother's kind. These were different, smaller, closer to his size, but their presence carried weight. They surrounded him in silence, their movements graceful, precise, like shadows in human shape. He gripped his metal rod instinctively, though he knew it would be useless. One stepped forward, raising a hand. The glowing lines on its mask shifted, forming strange patterns. Then, in a voice that echoed both outside and inside his head, it spoke. "The mother has chosen you." The man's eyes widened. His throat tightened. You can speak? We can be understood." The voice was calm, deep, without emotion. "You carry the seed now. You are not one of us. But you are not only human anymore either. The man's grip on his rod loosened. His body trembled. What do you want from me? The masked figure tilted its head. Want? We do not want. We watch. We guard. The gift you carry is not reward. It is burden. Few survive it. Fewer master it. The others around him shifted, their staffs glowing faintly as if preparing for something. The man stepped back, his heartbeat racing. Take it back, he said quickly. I never asked for this. I saved the children, that's all. I didn't want... Choice is no longer yours, the figure interrupted. The mother chose, the seed has chosen, and now you are bound to it. If you fight it, it will break you. If you accept it, it may destroy more than you can imagine. The man shook his head, his chest tightening. Anger flickered in his eyes. Why me? There must be others. Stronger, smarter. I'm just human, the figure finished. Yes, that is why. The words froze him. Your kind burns quickly, the figure continued. Fragile but fierce. You fight when others flee. You endure when others fall. That is why the seed accepts you. But understand this. Others will come. Some will want to follow you. Many will want to kill you. The seed is light, but it is also fire. It will draw eyes from every corner of the stars. The man's body went cold. The feeling of being watched grew heavier. He realized these masked figures were not the only ones out there. Others, perhaps entire civilizations, already knew of the gift. The figure stepped closer, its mask glowing, brighter. We are the silent watchers. We will not interfere unless balance breaks. But you stand at the center now. One path brings peace. The other brings ruin. The seed will test you again and again. The man clenched his fists, his voice shook. And if I fail? The masked figure's glow dimmed. Then everything fails with you. The words hit harder than any wound. His breath caught. His legs felt weak. He wanted to collapse, but pride forced him to stand. The silent watchers stepped back into the shadows one by one, fading like smoke under the moons. Soon only the first remained, its mask still glowing faintly. We will watch. We will not guide. Your choices will shape the stars. Remember, human, saving children was easy. Saving worlds will not be. And then it too vanished, leaving the desert empty once more. The human stood alone, the cold wind cutting across his face. His chest burned, the pulse of the seed inside him steady and strong. He stared at the horizon, fear twisting inside him. But something else rising too. A spark, he whispered to himself, voice low, heavy. If the stars are watching, then I'll give them something worth watching. The desert stretched ahead, endless, dangerous, waiting. And he stepped forward, carrying not just the weight of his choice, but the weight of every future yet to come. The human walked on, deeper into the endless desert. The words of the silent watchers echoed in his mind. Saving children was easy. Saving worlds will not be. Each step pressed heavier than stone. His body was strong now, stronger than before, but his heart felt heavier. The sphere, no, the seed, inside him pulsed with a strange rhythm. It was alive, and it was waiting. By midday, the sun burned like fire above, and the desert shimmered with heat. The man's throat ached with thirst. He searched for water, for shelter, for anything, but the land stretched endless and cruel. He stumbled, falling to his knees. His palms pressed into the hot sand, sweat dripping from his face. His vision blurred. Not like this, he muttered. I didn't come this far to die here. The seed pulsed again. Heat rushed through his veins. His body trembled. The air around him shimmered brighter. And then, suddenly, the sand beneath his hands shifted. It moved. At first he thought it was the heat playing tricks on him. But then he saw it. The grains of sand twisting, forming shapes, lines, patterns glowing faintly with light. They spread outward in circles like ripples in water. He jerked back in shock. What? What is this? The seed inside him throbbed, faster now, guiding him. His hands tingled with energy. Without meaning to, he pressed them to the ground again. The sand obeyed. It rose in thin streams, twisting upward into solid shapes, pale columns of stone, water flowing from cracks that had not been there before. A pool formed, clear and shining. The man's chest heaved. His hands shook. He dipped them into the water, lifting it to his lips. It was cool, real, life itself. But as the water touched him, another voice spoke inside his mind. Not the Watchers, not the Mother. Something new. Power answers need, but need breeds danger. Are you worthy, or are you weak? The man dropped the water, his heart racing. He looked around, searching. The desert was still. Yet the voice echoed everywhere. The ground trembled. From the sand ahead, shapes rose. At first, they looked like shadows. Then they solidified, monstrous figures of black stone with burning red eyes and jagged claws. They were not alive, yet they moved. The seed had summoned them or tested him. The man staggered back, gripping his metal rod. His throat went dry. No, not now. The first creature lunged. He swung the rod with all his strength. It cracked against the stone beast's head, sending sparks flying, but the creature did not fall. Another rushed in, claws tearing the ground. The man rolled aside, sand burning his skin. His breath came fast. There were 3 of them, maybe more. He fought desperately, his rod smashing again and again, but each strike only slowed them. His arms ached. His body screamed for rest. He could not win like this. The seed pulsed harder, almost violently. His chest burned like fire. His vision blurred with light. He felt power building, begging to be unleashed. Use it, the voice whispered. Or fall. The man clenched his teeth. Fear battled with instinct. If he used the power, what would happen? Would it consume him? Would it destroy him? The creatures closed in, their claws ready to tear him apart. He screamed, raising both hands. The rod fell forgotten to the sand. Light burst from his chest, shooting through his arms. The ground shook violently. The sand rose like a storm, wrapping around the stone creatures, crushing them. The beasts thrashed, their red eyes blazing, but the storm tightened, twisting them apart. Their bodies shattered into shards of black stone that scattered across the desert. Silence returned. The man collapsed to his knees, his chest heaving. Sweat poured from his face. His hands still glowed faintly with light. The seed's pulse slowed, calm again. He stared at his hands, trembling. He had done it. He had called the power. He had survived. But his fear did not fade, because in the silence, the voice returned, softer, sharper. First test passed. Many more to come. The man closed his eyes, pressing his palms into the sand. He wanted to feel proud, but all he felt was dread. The desert was no longer just a desert. It was a battlefield, a teacher, a judge, and he realized, with a weight heavier than stone, the seed was not only watching him, it was shaping him. Somewhere, in the shadows of the universe, others would soon feel its light, and when they came, he would not face stone creatures, he would face armies.